Welcome to the recognition of prior learning and special consent webinar. We are delighted to have our council member, Mr. Danasha Bastu, also our registrations manager, Ms. Nita Smithlin, and Mr. Monetsi, who's our IT specialist. Before we introduce our program director, we encourage all participants to join us on Zoom rather than Facebook, as only those attending on Zoom will be eligible for CPD points. Please note that in order to be eligible for the CPD points, you need to attend the entire session. SACEP will obviously automatically load these points to your profile. It should also be noted that we don't offer certificates, but we automatically load your CPD points. Now, without further ado, let me introduce our program director for the day, which is Mr. Daneshwa Bastu, and we also wish to thank him for taking his time to form part of this webinar. I will just go through Mr. Bastu's short profile. Mr. Daneshwa Bastu is a registered professional senior architectural technologist and the principal of Daneshwa Bastu and Associates, which was established in 1994, originally from the mechanical engineering sector. He transitioned to architecture, fueled by his passion for the built environment and also inspired by his father's influence. He holds a diploma in project management. Since 1987, Danashwa has played a crucial role in transforming the architectural profession, advocating for the recognition of architectural technologists. He's currently a council member, and based on his passion for transformation, he's also the chairperson of the recognition of prior learning and registration committee member. He has served on various committees and represented SACEP at key international events. His dedication to promoting education for historically disadvantaged professionals and addressing the missing middle in architecture is very commendable. Daneshwa also actively contributes to his community as an ESCO board member of Verulam Child and Family Welfare Society and has held leadership roles in local policing and development initiatives. As indicated, you must attend the session. You must attend the entire session for you to be able to claim for CPD. After the introduction, then I will hand over to our program director. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brenda Parky, for that wonderful introduction of myself. I must say I'm very thrilled about that introduction. To our delegates who have registered online or who are viewing this presentation via Facebook, greetings and welcome to all the delegates who have registered for today's informative webinar on the recognition of prior learning and special consent. Just a quick overview is that RPL is a mechanism used by SACEP to address the historical imbalances of the past. I think we come from a long history of work reservation, and this is one of the mechanisms that SACEP has used to actually address the historical imbalances. And then secondly, to afford the opportunity to all RPs who have acquired the necessary work-based experience to enable them to successfully migrate from one category of registration to another category of registration. And thirdly, for those who undertake the special consent, route, this grants them permission to undertake building typologies identified in a higher category of registration. So we are encouraging all those who are online today to actually make use of these mechanisms. These mechanisms are there for you. It is there for you to benefit, and it also empowers you to rightfully take your place in our economy and to assist the country grow the economy as well. And today's reflective question is, we need to ask ourselves, why are we here today? That's a very key and crucial question. Why are we here today? And to all of those who have registered for today's webinar, you know, we need to reflect on this, and from the flow of information that will happen later on, we need to actually identify whether we are potential candidates for the use of these mechanisms that SACAP has put in place. Secondly, we need to inform the RPs that special consent and recognition of prior learning was a condition stipulated by the Competitions Commission when we took our identification of works committee when we took our identification of works framework document to the CC for approval, and it was a requirement that we have these mechanisms to enable those professionals who have gained the necessary knowledge or experience to actually be able to move from one category of registration to another category of registration. And for those who have been specialists in certain types of building typologies, to be able to present a portfolio of evidence to SACAP. And this evidence will then be assessed, and then those successful applicants will be able to do that kind of work which has been granted by SACAP. And then when we ask the reflective question here today, so today we are here to acquire the skills, the knowledge and the understanding on how to successfully complete an RPL and special consent application. So today's session, which was prepared by the SACAP team, is designed to guide you through the RPL process and the special consent portfolios. This comprehensive webinar will empower you with valuable insights into understanding RPL and special consent, the application process, the compilation of the portfolio of evidence, the SACAP competencies, and the 6 work stages. Ms. Brenda Parkey has introduced the team, so I'm just going to introduce the team again. The team is Munetsi Chonda, he's the senior manager, and Nita Schmidlin is the manager, registration and CPD. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Munetsi, who will then take you through the program. Thank you. To you, Munetsi.
Thank you very much, Councillor Danashwa. Thank you very much, Brenda, for the introductions and so forth. Please, can you confirm that you are able to see my screen? Brenda?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can, Mr. Mnenze.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So today we are going to discuss the requirements, the nitty-gritties, the conditions one should, or the process of applying for RPL, and all those questions that we normally get, for instance, the incomplete of the documentation and so forth. We will be addressing those issues. And at the end of the presentation, we are going to open for a question and answer session. So, okay. Here is the table of content. These are the areas that we are going to cover. Definitely, we'll start with the application form or its contents, what need to be in that application form, the process, eligibility, the metrics for regrading through RPL, that is moving from one stage to another, the procedures, the content of evidence of a portfolio of evidence. We will then drill in on the SACAP assessment scale and assessment methodology, the gaps of knowledge and skills that RPs need to undergo in order for them to apply for RPL in the process, as well as the appeal process. Lastly, we will then open for the questions, but we are also going to have another session there after appeals, that is the actual process of application. So far, we do have got quite a lot of applicants that are open, not completed in the system. So we will go through that. Right. Now we are starting, and the first one, it's the application form. And what is required in that in your application. So in order for your application to be complete, that is the portfolio guidelines that are highlighted here. There must be, your application form must have what we call an index. In other words, it's your table of content. It will be your table of content. We will discuss this table of content. Anita will go through it. But I will just give you some highlights on what is required. What is also needed, it's your curriculum vitae, your CV. Your CV is very, very important. It's required. So on this, on your CV, there is a guideline of how your CV should be. There are a number of guidelines available on writing CVs, but the critical requirements of those CVs should be a very short, a short version of your experience. The CV should contain the cover page, identifying the applicant. As simple as that. You will find that most of the portfolio, they don't have this. You might want to have a CV, but without the full information. So it must there must be a cover page that contain information that identify the applicant. Okay. On the CV, there must be a declaration outlining the previous work and experience. So you need to highlight on what work have you been doing for the previous years, what project have you had. So your CV must clearly document that. Your CV must also document your academic qualification in their order. Normally, you start with your matric, your bachelor's, your master's, your PhD. So it must be in that chronological order. Evidence that you put on your CV must be offered for any achievement that you have acquired. It must also be included. Failing to include such evidence could result in delay or even refusal. So it is very important that the certificates for previous tertiary courses must be included. They must be attached. Either there are qualifications, there are short courses, they must also be included in your CV and attached. You are required also to put any references and testimonials from current or past employers, supervisors, colleagues in a professional category which is similar or higher than that you are being applying for. So this means that you cannot put a referee on a category below the category that you are currently in. So the references, they must be for a higher category, from a higher professional category than the one that you are being applying for. Okay. Now, the other thing that is very important, it's your portfolios. As you can see here, we have highlighted that there must be 5 recent projects showcasing all 10 competencies. Nita, she's going to discuss, give you a brief history about all these 10 competencies. And let me repeat, your portfolio, they must include projects, recent projects, recent meaning that 5 years going back. And most important, this project, they must be approved by the municipalities. These drawings that you present, they must be approved by the municipalities. One other document that is very important when you submit your application is your motivation letter. Why are you applying for this? What is the reason behind, with your own words? Why do you want to move? So you must provide a detailed motivation letter that account your experience, that account why you want to move from one particular category to the next. You notice there on number 6, we used to require affidavits, but now we have changed that to reference letters from clients, reference letters from employees, like I mentioned before. So you must have a reference letter. A reference letter, it must be a letter on the letter, Kanban letterhead from the referee, from your employer, with all necessary contact details, so that when the assessment team want to do a follow-up, they will contact the client, they will contact your employer, whoever is your referee, with all the information, it should be there. One important piece of document that is required when you apply for RPL is the client agreement. Project, whatever you are doing a project, whenever you start to do a project, one has to enter into an agreement with the client. That agreement must be there, signed by both the client and the RP. There must be your conceptual of work, your design, development, and other technical studies, site meetings, site meeting minutes, and all other probably certificates or letter from municipality for zoning, whatever. Everything, they must be included. You will find that some of the portfolio, they might not have a site meeting. They might not have a client agreement. This will then derail the process. Because as you understand, whenever you engage in any work, before you start that work, there must be the agreement signed by both. Okay. After that, you then need to provide the proof of payment. But nowadays, it's all in the system, where we'll then show you during the course of this presentation. Okay. All right. Just to give a brief background so that people understand. We normally say RPL, what does it mean? It's the recognition of prior learning and special consent process involves the identification, document, assessment, and recognition of prior learning. The assessment of prior learning is undertaken by an independent assessment panel with explicit commitment to the principles of equality, redress, and inclusive, like what our counselor said, that the purpose of RPL is to redress the previous disadvantaged society or community. So the assessment panel is required to act objective, fairly, with impartiality. So what is special consent? Special consent is a mechanism for SACAP to grant a registered professional permission to carry out building type that is outside his or her category of recognition as per this Schedule 2. Anita will show you the scope of the practice matrix. So what we are saying here, because of the identification of work, one might have experience on drawing buildings or double-story buildings, of which his or her current category does not permit the person. So one has to apply, because they have been working that space. In order to comply with IDOW, one has to apply for a special consent so that you can be exempted to draw that specific building topology. And if some of you understand that now on your system, they do have what we call a certificate of competence. A certificate of competence just shows that you have been exempted to draw garages only, even though your current category does not permit you to be drawing that kind of building topology. One has to apply for what we call special consent. Okay. And RPL. So RPL, as we said, is a recognition of prior learning, is an important tool that recognizes a prior learning experience to enable registered professionals to articulate a higher category of registration. This will ensure that registered professions who do not have formal qualifications but have the experience can perform architectural work identified for a higher category. In simple terms, we are saying here that because some people that have experience, however, they do not have formal qualifications, they do not have formal certificates, they did not attend that particular degree, they did not attend a master's to be a professional architect. But because of experience, of a number of experience accumulated over the past years, one is not able to draw, and the RPO process would then be activated to enable those people, to enable those RP in this category to perform work that is of higher category than they are, based on their experience. Okay. Eligibility of applicants. So one, in order for one to be registered I mean, to be in order for one to apply for RPL, he or she must be registered with SACAP in any professional registration category. So this means that you need to be registered and in good standing status with SACAP. You must be active on the database. You must be in compliance if with your CPDs. To put it simple, you must have that privacy certificate. It must be active on your profile, which means that you are registered, you are in good standing condition or status with SACAP. An applicant may only apply for special consent if he or she is registered with SACAP in any professional registration category. The special consent shall only be granted to the registered professionals who has demonstrated extensive relevant experience in specific building topologies. So here, this statement is very clear. You are very good. You are very, very, very good at a certain or specific building topologies or building types. One can then apply for special consent, which means that outside your own registration category, you can then therefore be granted permission to draw those buildings, those areas that you have showed extensive experience. How do we show this? It depends with your portfolio that you are going to present. They will check that our portfolio based on those 10 competence, all those projects that you are going to present, they must be approved. There must be a seal, a stamp from municipality. Okay. RPL and special consent are granted to registered professions who have demonstrated extensive and relevant experience in a range of building types, complexity, aligned to the prerequisite registration competence. So in the matrix there that Nita is going to discuss, you will see that every registration category have got different complexity level that is required of those 10 competence. So we are simply saying that when you present your portfolio, it must be a range of building types. Take note of the word the range of building types. And these building types, they must include, or they must cover the greater part of the 10 competence. What we are saying, we can I can give you an analog here about a child. We said that there must be, when you feed a child, they must cover all nutrients, all category of nutrients, not specific one. In the event that you give them one specific set of nutrients or vitamins, the child will end up having what we call kwashiorkor. Why? Simply because they are lacking some of the nutrients that are required for the body to develop. So what am I saying here? I am saying that when you present your building types or topologies for assessment, they must endeavor, and I want to emphasize, they must endeavor, they must try to cover the greater part of those 10 competence with their complexity levels. Unless otherwise, one is applying for a special consent, which we say that it's only for a specific building topology. But if you are applying for RPL, it must cover all stages. It must cover all 10 competence. And I'm saying this with emphasis because we have realized that a notice from the previous assessment that quite a number of applicants, they kind of miss this. In our time, it raises the question that I am specializing in drawing schools. What then should happen? But you understand that even if you are specializing in this particular field or building topology, all these 10 topologies, there's a way of them being covered. And remember, the level of complexity varies. The level of complexity varies from category to category. So the category that you are in, as I said, you can only move from one category to the level 1 higher. You cannot jump. And each and every category, Nita will explain this shortly. Each and every category complexity levels requirement. On the assessment scale, we are going to show you, and when you submit your portfolio, I want to emphasize this, that it must cover all those 10 competence, all those areas, so that there's no to and fro with the assessment, and in our time, it delays the assessment. So I would now want to hand over to Nita so that she can continue with the presentation on the next slide that will talk about the metrics of regrading through RPL. What are the requirements? She will explain category by category or professional grade from one category to another. What are the requirements and what is the process that one has to take? As I said, one cannot move from one level and jump and skip a next level to another. No, it will be if you have got 3 levels. In order for you to reach a professional architect, you need to go to to level 1, level 2, level 3. Like for instance, you are a PhD, you cannot go and apply straight to professional architect. No, you have to go to PSAT. So I will then hand over to Nita to continue with the presentation. We will then take some comments, some questions after this presentation. So Nita, we have to go through a presentation. After that, we will take some questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Munetsi. Thank you, everybody, for making time in your busy days to attend this webinar. I do believe that everybody who is interested in furthering their registration will make good use of the information that we will be sharing with you. As Muneti said, I will be giving you the ins and outs of the process of RPL, how it goes, what we do, what we look at, to ultimately get somebody to the next level of registration. There's one thing that I want you to keep in mind right from the start when I start speaking. Please remember that RPL will not give you a qualification. So through RPL, you cannot obtain a master's degree or a degree as a technologist or a BTech or things like that. RPL only gives you only gives you the designation. So it gives you the name of being able to practice as a professional senior architectural technologist. It doesn't give you the qualification of a professional senior technologist. It gives you the name of a professional architect, for instance. It doesn't give you a master's in architecture degree, but through the designation that it gives you, it enables you to perform the work that a professional architect can do, regardless of the fact that you don't hold that validated architectural qualification. Something also that we need to emphasize, and Muneti has done so a few times, is please remember, you can only upgrade one registration category at a time. So again, if I'm a draftsperson, a professional architectural draftsperson, I cannot through RPL upgrade to become a professional architect. I must become a professional architectural technologist first. So those are things that I want you to always please keep in mind as we go along, and then we'll go through the rest of our portfolio for our presentation. Thank you. Right, we were talking first of all about the matrix for regrading, and what that says is it gives you the criteria of what you must follow in order to apply, and if then successful, move to the next registration category. We started at block number 1, professional architectural draftsperson. Normally a PAD has got a qualification as such. And in order to qualify to do an RPL, this person must have 3 years of experience working as a professional architectural draftsperson. He must have written and passed the professional practice exam if it was not previously done. What we find here often is that because it is a requirement to only write and pass paper 1 if you're a draftsperson and you want to now become a professional, a lot of candidate draftspersons only write paper 1 because that is what's required of them. So if you have not written the second paper, you cannot upgrade through RPL before you have written that. Please make a note, if you are registered in this category, I always recommend that people do that. Everybody will know that RPL is not a process that happens within a day or within a week. It takes very long. So you have a chance to write your examination in the meantime. While you're waiting to be allowed to do the RPL assessment, go and write the paper or papers from the PPE that you haven't done yet. Then the next category is a professional architectural architectural technologist. Also, that person registered as such must do a minimum of 3 years, must have a minimum of 3 years of experience working as an architectural technologist. Again, must have written and passed both papers this time of the PPE. Remember now, as a draftsperson, we said normally they would, or in many cases, they would write the first paper only and then have to come back and write the second paper. You would not get a technologist that have only written paper one, because for them to upgrade to a professional architectural technologist, it would have been a requirement that they write paper two as well. Similarly with a senior technologist, is 3 years experience in that category. Pass level 2 of the PPE, that's both papers. And then you also then do the, like the other categories, the assessment. Just to make sure that we have this story completely straight, right in the start when we introduced the revised RPL process, the requirements for the practical experience requirements for each of these categories were different. You would find that a draftsperson had to, for instance, do 3 years, had to have 3 years of experience, whereas a senior technologist might have had 4 years experience necessary in order to apply for a RPL. That is no longer the case. It hasn't been the case for a long time. It is 3 years regardless of what category it is in, and what category you are upgrading to. Please just remember again that you can only upgrade one category at a time. Let us start here by block number 1. SACP understands that a registered professional may develop experience in further work types above their registration category throughout their career. I think everybody we find that during the RPL assessments a lot, that people that work in a practice, they tend to work as a group together. So although I'm not maybe the expert in this kind of project, I have worked on that because of the fact that I worked in the team that set up that project. So I do have the experience for that project. Please, once again, I ask, make it very clear when you do your portfolio what your involvement was. The panel do not want to see you mentioning this project on your portfolio, yet it was your colleague that did the project, and you did virtually no work on this project. You please indicate your specific involvement very clearly. RPL and SC shall only be granted to registered professionals who has demonstrated extensive and relevant experience on a range of building types. Munetsi has told us that already, and competencies aligned in the requisite registration. Oh, I can hardly see here, sorry, it's very small. competencies. So again, I say, you cannot come and apply. My wish is to design Sandton City. I've never done it. I'm a professional architectural draftsperson, and it is my dream to do it. We're not saying you can never do it, but based on the fact that you have not do that in the past, your RPL or even the special consent will at no stage grant you the okay to do that and to give you the go-ahead with projects like that, because you cannot showcase your experience in that type of work, in that field of work. An applicant shall submit and demonstrate a portfolio of evidence for relevant professional category of registration, limited to the category immediately above the current category. We've said this now quite a few times, and I think that shows you how pertinent this question is and how many times this comes up. If you're a technologist, you cannot upgrade straightly to a professional architect. You can only upgrade one registration category at a time. An applicant may only apply for an RPL if he is registered with SACAP in any professional registration category. This I want to explain to you twofold. Let's see what that sentence says. It says an applicant can only apply if he is registered in any of the SACAP professional categories. What does that mean? You have to already be a professional. What does that mean in the second instance? It means a person that is a candidate cannot say, I want to be in a different professional category, because that person is not registered in a professional category yet and couldn't have done any work experience in a professional category. So you have to be registered as a professional and you have to have done work as a professional in a category that you're currently registered in. Let us give one step back. Remember where we said people must be registered for a minimum of 3 years? That's registered as a professional. So you must be registered as a professional, worked as a professional for 3 years before you can apply for an RPL. For the SC, we say an applicant may only apply for an SC if he or she is registered with SACAP in a professional registration category. Again, the same comes. Why do we say all these? Why do we emphasize the professionals? Because remember, your candidates are not permitted to independently undertake architectural work. A candidate will work with his or her mentor, will work under the mentorship of somebody that is already registered as a professional. And then obviously the evidence that the person has done this work and has got the experience to do the work for the next category would be that they give in a portfolio of evidence. I see people have put up their hands. Is there a problem with the sound or something that you can't see, or they're just questions? Dennis George, I see your hand is up.
No, you can continue, Nita. questions will be
thank
after
you.
the presentation.
Now, I was just scared that people can't hear me, maybe, or they can't see the slides. Then we'll ask the questions afterwards. All right, portfolio of evidence. Let us try and get as much as we can out of this conglomeration of knowledge that it gives us here for the structuring of our portfolio and what our panel wants to be included in the portfolio. Right at the beginning of our presentation, when Munetsi handled it, he was talking at the application part of 5 projects that your whole RPL project is based on. Now, that is the 5 projects that you pull through every step of this assessment. I get a lot of queries where people say to me, I filled in the application, but at this stage, I want to know if I can substitute some of my projects because other projects would be more advisable to use as they cover more of the building types and the competencies that we want to look at. My reply to that is always, yes, you can, but you have to start the process afresh. What am I saying through that? I'm saying if you've submitted information of 5 projects for your assessment, right in the beginning, we've said, give us the names of the 5 projects that we're going to look at during your assessment. You've now given that to us, and there are sheets. You will see when you start going through that you have to fill in that gives you specific information about the project. You cannot now come to the portfolio part of this project and all of a sudden include 5 different projects. So I'm saying 2 things, and I'm emphasizing that again. Yes, if at a later stage you want to change one or a few of the projects that you initially brought in, you can do that, but that means you'll have to start afresh. Maybe not at the submission of the application, but you'll have to fill in the application form again, so that we've got record from the start of the 5 projects that you're going to use in your portfolio of evidence. And we say here then the 5 recent projects, remember the timeline of 10 years came up, and it must showcase the applicant's involvement. It is recommended that the 5 projects show variation in complexity and, where possible, building types within the scope of what is permitted for each such category. Drawings, a maximum of 10 PDF images per project. We can see the necessity for that. I would think, as a non-architect, I can even say, for me, as somebody that can work a computer a little bit, it's easy to copy and paste 10 drawings into one document and say, here's the work that I've done. So we are now saying, we want a maximum of 10 PDFs. Please believe me if I say that your portfolio won't be thrown out if you've included 11 PDF slides for this. But we want to keep it uniform and to a strict guideline. But the images must give us clear reference of where what is relevant to the 10 competencies, what we normally refer to as the suck-up competencies. The competencies, here they are listed. You will also see in the documents we give you to compile your portfolio, they will also be listed. So you've got architectural design, environmental relationships, construction technology, building structures, contextual and urban relationships, architectural history, theory and precedent, building services and related technologies, contract documentation and administration, computer application, office practice and legal aspects of ethics. I just ran through some of the questions that were asked here a little earlier, and I see somebody there was asking, if I never did this kind of work, what do you suggest I must do? Now, first of all, if you've really never done the work, then RPL or even SC is definitely not for you, because that adjudicates that gives you an opinion of whether or not what you've done is in line with what a person in the next registration category can do. But say now you get to number 6, architectural history, theory, and precedent. The type of work you do might not have anything to do, or might have very little to do with history. Where are you going to go now? I think that is where you need to then broaden your scope and see, okay, is there not maybe a CPD course on architectural history that I can do, that I can then include in my portfolio to show that all, yes.
Just sorry to bother you. Attendees, they're asking if you can do a full screen.
Okay, my screen is.
Yeah, you go to the left. I mean, to your right, down, go down. There's a
my
trophy
right.
kind of.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Yes, no. That trophy, the trophy sign. Go back to the left a bit. Come to the left. No. Go to the left. There where you see. Yes, go again to the left. Go to the left. You are going to the right. No, not on that scale.
Your right and my right are two different things.
Okay. Go to your left. You see where you are. Go to the opposite. Yes. Yeah. There. Click that one. Exactly. Click that. Exactly. Thank you.
Is it now bigger? Very good. Is that better?
Yes. Now it's fine. Thank you very much.
That was why I was asking if people could see. I thought it was as much as that people couldn't see what was written on the screen. Is there anything that anybody wants me to repeat?
You can proceed.
If you haven't heard 5 years, or then I'll have to repeat the whole thing. All right, let's go. So what I was saying, for instance, if we look at number 6 here of the competencies, if the work that you've done includes very little architectural history, then you need to start thinking of ways that you can show, but I have done architectural history. I have brought my knowledge of architectural history more up to date. How do you do that? By, I would suggest doing beforehand something like a CPD course on architectural history that you can then include in your portfolio and say, I know that I lack in this department, therefore, proactively, I have done this. Right, this I want to show you, and this is where the outcome skills and what is required from every registration category is displayed. So if you're a professional architect, obviously you have to be able to be proficient in every one of these competencies, 1 to 10. Although in number 9, which is computer applications, you do not have to have problem solving, only the knowledge, the understanding, and the application. So the one that's not colored in gray, or if you look at any block that's in gray and go to the left-hand side, the learning level indicate there is where at that category of registration you have to be in. Let us have a look at a senior technologist. This one might be a bit more interesting to look at. If we look at, again, a professional architect, and we look at environmental relationships. So there you need the knowledge, the understanding, the application, and the problem solving. You see it goes progressively higher as it goes down this list. If we go to a senior technologist, you need the knowledge, which is gray here. You need the understanding, which is gray here. You need the application, which is also grayed out. But the problem solving, you don't need, whereas an architect needs that. Can you see, if you now go and look at each one of them, there are quite a few under the senior technologist that you only need to be at a problem solving phase and not necessarily, well, I'm saying now only, that's not correct. You must be on a problem solving phase. You must not just have knowledge of that. For your professional architectural technologist, it becomes more again. So here we get a number of them that are on application already. So you don't need just knowledge and understanding. You need application and problem solving for a number of these, like number 2, number 4, number 5, and number 6. And then for a draftsperson, you need knowledge of everything, of every learning level, of every one of these competencies. But a lot of them, again, are only at understanding phase and not at knowledge phase as a professional architect. This thing, you need to understand that. Just always remember that what is colored in the guide, this document is in the guideline to the applicants as well. We've got a document that we send out to you for the RPL assessment. This is in there. I took a few minutes now to just go through it. Otherwise, I know it took me a long time to understand what was going on here, and it was quite difficult to understand this. So you look at your horizontal outcomes, and you look at your vertical learning levels, and where the two meet, that gives you the level of where you in that category should be. RPL and SC application submission. Right now, we've brought this special consent in here as well. Remember the biggest, we haven't mentioned that, but so I can't tell you remember, but the biggest difference between RPL and SC is that with the RPL, with the recognition of prior learning, if it's successful, you get upgraded to the next category. So you can then do, you're then permitted to do all and any work that anybody registered in that higher category can do. Special consent only gives you permission to do one type of work in a higher category, or what that is reserved for a higher category. In other words, it doesn't say if you're a technologist, you can also do all the work that a senior technologist has done. It says no, you can then, this type of project, this certain project that you are applying for, what is demarcated for a senior technologist, you can undertake. So your title doesn't change, your registration doesn't change, nothing changes. Where if you've got a successful RPL, you will even get a new registration number, or the number will, the prefix of the number will change from, for instance, a PSAT, for a professional senior architectural technologist, to a PRR, a professional architect. So an application for RPL or EC should be submitted via email or by hand with the following information. A summary of information sheet. SACAP will provide you with that. And we've mentioned all these already. A letter motivating as to why the application is proposed. Remember, this is your application as the applicant. It is your motivation. Affidavits from clients, consultants, contractors, mentors, and or supervisors, confirming that the applicant performed their duties in person, competently, and to a satisfactory level. Selection of documents about the project, including examples of architectural professional client agreement, conceptual work, design, development, and architectural studies, minutes of meetings, and certifications. And that is where you start, Munetsi.
You can proceed, Nita.
I'm sorry?
You can proceed.
You want me to proceed? Okay.
Yes.
The criteria for the RPL and SC assessments are applied consistently, and equitably to all applications. I have sat in a number of RPL applications, assessments. Please remember that specifically in the case of RPL, the chairperson of that specific RPL assessment is somebody that is at least registered in the same category as the applicant. It cannot be in a lower category. People don't know each other. They learned on the day that they attend the assessment, when they open the view for a few minutes, they learn who the assessor and the applicant is. So I think all prejudice can be taken out of the equation. I don't think there is ever a case where we suspected that unfairness existed. To the contrary, we want the people to be successful, because we want people to be able to achieve more. But unfortunately, it is not always possible. The reason why we are talking so much about portfolios and the structure of the portfolios and what must be included in the portfolios is that it delays our work tremendously if people do not follow the guidelines for putting the portfolios in the right order. I'm sitting with at least 2 portfolios at the moment where people literally took A4 pages. I want to go as far as to say is dump them in one folder and forwarded them. So you don't have a description of what this project is, why it was submitted. You can't navigate this process easily. I always try and explain to the applicants that they must remember that typically during an RPL assessment, we sit all over the country. We've got a number of assessors in Cape Town, we've got some in Durban, we've got some in Joburg, we've got all over the country. We've got assessors, and that is where we make use of them. And it is, I mean, if you take 5 names and you pair them up with 5 names, there's no prejudice there that we can say, oh, but we're giving this one a better chance than the other one. Let's go through all this text here. The criteria for the RPL and SC assessments are applied consistently and equitably to all applications. The assessment panel will interview and assess the evidence presented by the applicant. The aim is to measure an individual's existing learning outcomes against the outcomes required for registration in the relevant category. In all 4 registration categories, proficiency must be considered appropriate to the complexity of the projects envisaged at the particular level. This assessment must therefore be guided by the following documents, which both applicants and the panel must thoroughly study. The assessment panel shall verify the achievement of all outcomes from the relevant assessments and the subsequent interview with the applicant. If the panel is not able to verify specific components of the required outcomes from the evidence presented by the applicant, the outcomes may be tested through oral, written, and/or practical examination. We have had a few cases where people were required to come and write an examination after their RPL assessment. This is not the only lengths that the assessors have gone through. We once sat in an assessment that I can clearly remember. The chairperson of the meeting, while they were busy interviewing the applicant, he was on the internet and he Googled this building that the person was referring to. And he could see all the details that this person was bringing up in his portfolio, which is on the one hand good, because you can see it's there. But on the other hand, that led to speculation as to whether this person did not get it from the internet. They solved the problems and it was all done. As I said, we've had instances where people wrote examinations. They then go for, it depends on what the panel determines. They then go and do a written exam for up to 3 days, where they get given a problem, like a dissertation that they do. They're given a problem, and then they must show how they go to work around this problem and ultimately solve the problem. Where there is insufficient evidence to declare an applicant as competent or a registration category, or to be permitted to perform building types outside the applicant's registration category, the assessment panel may request that the applicant submit additional evidence within a specified time frame. This happens as well. The panel might feel that during the conversation with the applicant, they do get the idea that this person knows what he's talking about, that he's got this experience that he's talking about, but there's nothing about that contained in his portfolio. They would then ask him to do an addendum to his portfolio and submit that documentation to them so that they can scrutinize that as well. If an application is assessed as not being successful in terms of the structural critical outcomes, the applicant shall be required to gain further experience under mentorship or reassessment, and may be required to attend relative Category 1 CPD activities. All unsuccessful applicants must, after addressing the shortfalls, reapply for an upgrade to be permitted to perform a building type above their category of registration. Upon reapplication, they shall present evidence of experience gained under competencies required to a SACAP RPL assessment panel for that evaluation. So that is exactly what I now said. If a person has done the assessment and it wasn't successful, first of all, the panel can ask them to supplement the portfolio of evidence that they submitted. Or if it was out and out unsuccessful, this person can start the process afresh, submit a new application, submit a new portfolio, maybe focus on different projects that they might have, focus on different types that they might have gotten a lower a lower score in during the assessment. When the panel does the assessment, they actually score this person out of a predetermined number. So they would say to you, for this, let's use the history that we spoke about earlier. We give you, and I can't now remember exactly what history is about, the scoring rate, but say now it counts out of 50. We give you 20 out of 50, which is not high enough to give you a pass rate under history. So they actually get scored a point, which is then recalculated into a percentage to determine whether or not they pass the assessment. Just go to the next page. Muneti, do you want me to go on with this one?
Yes, continue. I will then start from the portal.
Okay, thank you. If the RPL or SC assessments identify gaps in learning or experience required for articulation to a higher registration category of professional registration, or be permitted to perform a building type above their registration category, a list of requirements will be issued to the applicant. These requirements might inter alia include, and this is now again, if it was unsuccessful, these are possible outcomes. The applicant must work with a mentor and an evaluation of such experience, attending relevant CPD modules, attending appropriate educational models at recognized architectural learning sites, extensive self-study, reading, which will be assessed by an assessment panel. All unsuccessful applicants must, after addressing the shortfalls, reapply for RPL or SC and again follow the process of presenting evidence of experience gained under the competencies required to the assessment panel for evaluation. Thank you very much. That was a mouthful. Last but not least comes the appeals process. Under step 1, an applicant whose application for RPL or SC was rejected by the RPL committee may appeal to the council in terms of SACAP's registration appeals policy after the payment of the prescribed fee. Step number 2, the applicant may furnish SACAP with a fully motivated, substantiated appeal. Appeals must reach SACAP's office within 30 days from the date of the letter confirming the outcome of the original RPL panel assessment. The council shall hear the appeal within 60 days of submission and receipt of the appeal. If the council dismisses an appeal, an applicant may appeal to the council for the built environment in terms of section 35(1) of the Architectural Professions Act. So what does this mouthful say? It says if your application for RPL is completely unsuccessful, or for SC for that matter, you can still appeal the outcome. Please just know and just pay attention to the fact that an appeal is not just you as the applicant writing a letter and saying, I don't agree that it was unsuccessful. You must show grounds why you differ from the outcome of the assessment panel. Your grounds might include something like something that you included in your portfolio of evidence was misconstrued during your submission or during your presentation, and therefore the panel made a wrong choice. You cannot, during an appeal, submit new evidence. You cannot submit a reason for, let me rephrase, a reason for an appeal can never be, I do not agree with you. There must be grounds for the appeal. There must be grounds that says, because you didn't, or let's rephrase again, you didn't agree with the fact that I am eligible for an upgrade because of reasons 1 to 6, but I differ from you from the way you read these reasons, and therefore here are the evidence here in writing is what I say. You said I didn't include a historic building, but if you look at the project I included as project number 3, you will see it is in actual fact a historic building because of A, B, and C. So it is, let me again just put it together. Step 1 is you can apply. Step 2 is you must furnish SACCUP with a fully motivated and substantiated appeal. What I didn't emphasize was that the appeals must reach SACCUP's office within 30 days from the date of the letter confirming the outcome of the RPL panel assessment, and the council shall then hear the appeal within 60 days. If you're still not happy, you can apply to the CBE or the council for the built environment. Please just look to at the second part of this step number 2. We say appeals must reach SACCUP's office within 30 days from the date of the letter. We are not always in a position to give out the letters with the outcome of the appeal directly after the assessment. It goes for a long route to make sure that it's got all the necessary approvals, and everybody that must look at it looked at it. And the reason for the 30 days mostly is that because the amount for RPL phase 2 is a higher amount to pay, people sometimes neglect to pay this amount. They might have now gone through the assessment and they've got a feeling it wasn't successful, so now they don't pay. And then obviously we can't give it out. So we don't want these processes to stretch out too long. But I know that there are people waiting for the outcomes of their RPL assessments. We've had quite a few changes in our admin process for the RPL, and we're hoping to get it finalized one of these days very shortly. Muneti, this I'm sure is your part of the assessment again. You want me to stop sharing? Muneti, can you hear me?
Yes, Nita?
Can I stop sharing?
Okay, no, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Right, colleagues, now we are going on the application and the process using the new system. We have, I will share some few live examples from the system. We have noticed that there are quite a number of people who have applied for RPL, but they did not move from update details. So when you look in, so Mike Jones, as you can see on the, as you can see here, it says Mike Jones. Mike Jones is a fictitious name. It's a pseudonym. So this does not represent anyone within our database. It's the name that we use for testing only. I just want to make that clear. Thomas William, we will then be asking questions after this presentation. That's when we will be taking questions. Thank you. So this is the dashboard. So the dashboard, they vary from different category to different category. So this one, it's for a PAD dashboard. A PST dashboard is quite different, especially on the applications, because it will then shows you what you need to apply then going forward. I'm not going to explain other tabs there, your application, exam, certificates, MTR, in this webinar. I'm going to only be dealing with RPL. So Mr. Jones will then click where it says application there. Once you click application, as highlighted on my second slide there with red, it shows that Mr. Jones needs to apply. You click where it says applications. All the applications that are eligible to Mr. Jones, because based on his category, which is PAD. If you check on top of the dashboard there, it's PAD, will be displayed on here. But today we are only concentrating on RPL as indicated by the red square here. So you need to click this. Once you click in, you then be where you started the application process. On this application process, these are terms and conditions that one has to read. So firstly, you need to read as obvious. After that, you go to the, on my side, it will be my left side where there's a red arrow. You tick this arrow, and on this side, you will then go and click here. Once you click here, there's a form, the RPL processes, policy, it will then come up. So this process now, it contains the greater part of our discussion this morning. What I've said earlier and what Nita was saying, it's all documented in these terms and conditions. After that, you then proceed. You click proceed. Now, most of the applications, most of the people, they end here. Most of the applications, we do have got 396. I will show you later on the live database that are here. So whatever process that you are applying for, this system requires you to update your details. Even if there's nothing changed, please click this green button. Click this green button here where my cursor is. Click this green button. Most of the applications, they end here. People, they just went in here. You cannot go to self-assessment if you did not come and update this section. Whether your details change or not, please click it and go and click update so that you can proceed. So I've clicked. This is for Mr. Jones. If you want to add your profile, you can put your profile. If there's nothing that you want to add, you can then okay, because it's too big, so I just need to click to the next page, which is a continuation of the previous page. So here, if you want to put your picture, you can upload it here up to 5 megs. If you don't, it's fine. You then click next. Or if you want to change, there are fields that are changeable here that you can change. The other fields, you cannot change. You have to send us an email to change those fields. But some you can change. So right now I did not change anything. We can just proceed. So all the information that you can see here is not really quite information. They are just for pseudo, are just numbers that we have just punched in there. They don't represent any crucial information that identify Mr. Jones as a person, because that's not a person, it's just a pseudonym. Okay, I click proceed. So after you have gone all 3 or 4 pages of update your detail, whether you have changed or not, if you want to change here your address, you can change it. If not, you are happy with it, you can then click this one, update detail. Sometimes you can use the map show on the map. You can put your address and click show on the map. This one will quickly go and access your actual location and populate it accordingly here. Or if you don't, you just click here, update. This one's very important. You can come to this page, proceed. If your information does not change, nothing changed, then you need to click this button, update details. I've clicked it myself. Once you have done that, you see on the dashboard here, it's now registered the date completed this process. Now we begin your self-assessment. Your self-assessment is the very easiest one. It's the one that will now, based on your understanding for this particular project that you want to upload, whether you have gone through all those 10 competence or not. Some people were asking on the chat whether, what if I don't I did not complete all the 10 competence. Yes, it's fine. You can submit those 10, whatever competence based on that particular project that you are uploading. You can please submit, because some of the projects you might not have, but remember, like what Nita said on the assessment scale, some categories you don't have to do all the 10 competence on all the complexity level. No, some they are not included there. Okay, so here I now click my assess. Now I'm doing my self-assessment. Once you click your self-assessment, on the top here, on this bracket here, you write the name of the projects that you want to upload. We said 5 projects. So you can either choose to write 1, type 1, it's a school, whatever the name of the project, you know the project is a house, it's a church, it's a crash, whatever you write it there, you write in this block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you click update. So if you do what I've done, you can do it on Mr. Jones, like 1, 2, 3, I put 3 here, I can go up to 5 in the same block here, or else you can just write project 1, then you click update. It will be like this one where my cursor is. Then project 2, it will come to the next line going down. Whatever you want to do, as long as because here you are not uploading, you are just writing the names of the project that you will be assessed and evaluated on, full stop. After that, you have recorded all your 5 projects. Your 5 projects, then you click proceed, and they must appear. Once you click update, they must appear underneath here. They must appear here. Okay, right. Now, on that assessment, now we are starting with self-assessment. All those competence. The first one, architectural design. There are only 4 or 5 criteria that you need. You then gauge yourself, your level of involvement, your level on each and every item under each competence. For example, here, just give a demonstration here. Definition and analysis of architectural problem. What was your level involvement? You can say, I'm not involved at all, it's fine. To some degree involved, yes, which means you did part of it, or full involved. Remember, you're gonna be assessed. Those your presentation will give us the full detail. So you do this to each under this category, under this competence. There are quite a few number of elements under it. So you do element by element, element by element, element by element. You element by element there. Here I just completed this one. Okay, to some degree fully. Not, I was not involved at all on this particular one. Then you do all of them. Okay. After you've done everything, make sure that each and every line is completed. Don't skip any. Don't skip any. There mustn't be any remaining with the word select, please select. No, they must be completed. Either not involved at all, to some degree, or fully involved. Please make sure that every line item has been completed until to the last competent there. If those competent they are not at your current category stage, it's fine. Just write not involved. Not involved. Okay. Now I click the next button. Okay. I have completed my self-assessment. As you can see on the dashboard here, it's complete. And once you complete a stage, it will show, give you the date and the time that you have completed. After that, you now goes to supporting documentation. So we use to request people to submit a flash drive. Some they used to send to using your WeTransfer. Some they used to send using Dropbox and so forth. But this system now does accommodate all your portfolios up to 100 meg. So which is quite big. Which is quite big. Okay. Now you need to click here. You need to click where it says upload your documents. Like I've indicated here, I clicked here. Once you click here, you'll be presented with this screen. So I then highlighted the maximum file size. You see how big it is, 100 meg. So of course, one was asking my CV, what size of the CV? If it is a normal CV, you can just put a normal CV. You use your A4 CV, PDF, whatever. If you put some diagrams, it's fine. Make sure that that file mustn't be more than 100 megabytes. So on this one here, you will not proceed if any of these fields are not completed, if all of these fields are not completed, so you need to put your curriculum vitae under this curriculum vitae, and you also have got your qualifications. You combined all of them. You put them under this section. Then you go to number 2, which is a project portfolio 1. It will be your school. You write the name of the school, then whatever you write, the name of that particular project or plan, you write it, you attach it here. Same applies to all other supporting documents that you have that is not listed here. You can attach it on this. Probably there might be some zoning certificate, whatever. You can attach it under that specific project or portfolio. You then come to your last project, portfolio 5, you do the same. Then reference from employers, clients. In some certain instance, as you see on the police there, you can have some from some peers, or it would be like a peer review whom you have worked with, especially on this particular project. Then there's a table of content that you need to upload. Normally, it is provided by SACAP. You can get it from SACAP. You can ask Dimpo if you want to, or you can create yours that you, based on all your project that you have put in there. Yes, as a commissioner of oath, disregard that, because now it was before when we were requiring for affidavits. So in the comment section, people were asking that I don't have some references because of 1 or 2 things there. I was a candidate, or I submitted working under a company, so my name is not there. So you can provide reference from your employer, from the client, as well as affidavits there. You can also put those affidavits, and in that affidavit, you can give us information so that when we need to track those people whom you are referring to, we can actually contact them to verify that kind of information that you have provided. So here, you can see this screen. You cannot proceed if any of these blocks are not populated. So you must make sure that you have got all your 10 projects, all your documentation, they are there. And some of them you can combine your PDF so that you can, if it is your CV and your qualifications, you can combine them, all your qualifications, your short courses, you can put them under CV then project. Okay. Then
It for 6 more.
Brenda, you can mute. Okay. So here I have uploaded my project. I've uploaded my project, my CV here for Mr. Jones, project 1, hospital project, test project, project 5. All my reference, my employer, my clients, affidavits, all other supporting documents, compile them and upload them. Now I'm able to maneuver to the next. So I have to come and click proceed. Once you click proceed, it will give you this document. I mean, it will show you the name, I mean, the time that you have uploaded your documents. And if you click here, it will display some information. I will show you later there to say that, yes, we have received, and you can also receive an automatic message from the system there. Now, you go to the next stage, which is select the application type. And we have been emphasizing that you cannot move 2 steps ahead. I said it, and Nita also said it as well. It's very important. Those are small things that RPs, they tend to make mistake and select the wrong, the 2 stage higher than your current one, and it will then delay the process. So you need to click here, select, where I've highlighted in red. You click select. Once you click select, you then be presented with a selection menu. Please, if you are PAD, you need to select PAT. If you are PAT, you need to select PAT to PSAT. You cannot move from PAD to the 3rd level there. No. You need to go through those stages. Please, 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 please don't jump a stage. It will derail your application process. Because once they assess it and you find that you choose the wrong one, you derail the process. They have to contact you, you have to change, and yeah. Cache. Once you select, like what I've done here, because we know that Mr. Jones is a PAD, so you need to move to PAT. You click proceed. Once you have done that, it will then shows what need to be done. So remember now, after you've done that, you need to go to the next stage. Nowadays, we are using pay online. You pay online. You then click pay online. Okay. You click pay online. Then normally, like all other payment gateway, this step will take you to a secure online payment gateway. Only if your payment is successful, you will receive an invoice. So when you click this one, now it will then take you to a payment gateway, whereby you will then make your payment. There is on our website a schedule of payment that we one has to pay from one particular stage to another, as well as social consent concern. I mean to say, special consent application. Okay. So it is important that we all check that documentation, or we can send it to all RPs or link so that you can have it, but it is on our website. Right. Once you have done that, you have made your payment. It will then the internal staff, the SACAP team, will then come and do your review, all the documents that you have uploaded, and check that all the documents are there. That is an application review. Once you have done that, once the SACAP administrator have done that, your role is ended. The admin will review each and every documents based on what we have been saying the entire morning. And if the administrator is find out that all your documentation are in order, you will then receive an email from the system that this is the outcome of your review. All your documents are present, or you need to submit 1, 2, whatever document is missing. You will then have to go the entire process again, click application, blah, blah, but you don't have to upload anything. You just need to update whatever until you go, you arrive at where you need to upload those documents. Then you can upload those documents that are missing. Once you receive that outcome, which is just an admin outcome that says that all your documents are fine, we then move to what we call the authentication. You then receive an email that, okay, SACAP will advise of the outcome. So what it means is the internal staff will then download all your documents, package them, and present them to the committee, which is RPL and Restoration, which Mr. Banashwa is the chairperson there. Okay. So you will then be notified that, okay, this is the position, you are proceeding for the assessment. You will then receive an email from Dimpo to give you the day and the Zoom link for the assessment that will be whatever you will be advised going forward after this. Okay. So your dashboard will look like this at the end. Once you see that there is a date on the authentication, which means that they have worked on your documents, send you an email, if the assessment, if they need you to come and explain or whatever, the entire process, you will then be communicated, because all your information would have them. SACAP would have all your information. So you would then, from there, we would then continue now sending you emails to either attend, to explain, or the outcome. It will be communicated. On my watch here, it's saying that it's 12 o'clock, a minute to 12. So we are done with all our presentation, colleagues. We then therefore open this session for question and answer. We did answer some few questions, but now we can, now I see Lucas is now coming in. Yes, this is the time. Please, colleagues, you can raise your hands and we can give you that opportunity to answer. Myself, Nita, Banashwa, and SACAP team who are here to answer those questions. The one that we are not able to answer, we will document them and send you the response. So I will then ask people who are raising their hands to join to ask their question. So I will start. Please, you need to come through this order. Lucas, you are the first one. Frank Farai, Maroja, then Marai Maraika Botha, if I pronounce your name correctly, Pierre de Villiers, that is, yeah, Skolan Nube, Cash. Those I have called their name. You can then ask your questions in that order, please. Then we'll take another round of question. All right.
Can I speak
Lucas,
now?
yes, you can, please.
My question is that I wanted to know if can you send all these criteria that you have been speaking to us through our email. That is the all question that I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will definitely send all the PowerPoint. So what we are going to do is you will look into your portal, go under a library. Under library, we will then put this presentation. So all those who are on this call, this presentation, the policies, RPL policies, they will be under your library. We will put the under registration. We will put this PowerPoint, RPL processes, guidelines for portfolio guidelines and information. Yeah, you will find it on that portal. Is it okay, Mr. Lucas?
Yes, I'm satisfied. Is it okay? And some question again, attending certificate is gonna be also send it to us.
What is it?
Certificate, attendance certificate.
Okay, like what Brenda said in the morning, SACAP. Okay, SACAP, South Africa Council for the Architectural Professional. We are a regulator. We are a regulator. We do not send certificate. However, we will give your points. Those who have attended this webinar, we will download the register from the webinar. We will then allocate points on your profile. We do not give certificates. Certificates are from VAs so that they can submit to us and verify. So we do not give certificate of attendance for the webinar. We only give you points. As long as you are on this, the system records the time that you are in this, you are on this call, and the time that you end. We then allocate points accordingly. Thank you. Frank, you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you, sir, for such a wonderful presentation. I think it was really insightful. I've got 3 questions that I want to ask. The first one is, are we able to get score sheets for the previous RPL assessments? And the reason I ask is because for one to appeal, you need to appeal based on a certain criteria and know exactly what you are appealing. Because I feel I personally put projects according to the competency areas, and I feel I covered all the competence areas. And the feel that I have of the final assessment is that the external assessors were happy with my work. However, I think it's Professor Ndugu was the current SACE president then, and the other lady was, I think, the vice president, if I'm not mistaken, had a feeling that I must have concentrated on stage 1, which was mostly design. Stage 1 and stage 2, which is mostly design work. They gave the sense that they wanted to see more of that in all my projects, which I personally did not agree with, simply because I had to cover all the competency areas. So that answer sheet or that score sheet would come in handy, so that even if one appeals, they know what exactly they're appealing. The second question is, what is the current success rate of RPL process? How many people out of the people that apply are successful? And is it possible maybe to see how their portfolio looks like as an example, especially to those that will be going through the RPL process, so that they can align their work more or less the same, to see how they can align their work to be successful in the process. My last question is, if I go to a tertiary institution and pursue a degree or a master's degree, do I need to go through the RPL process, or that will automatically grant me the registration as a professional, for instance, architect, if I get a master's degree or honors degree in architecture? Do I need to go through the process of RPL? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Farhan. I would then ask Nita and Councillor Banashwa to respond to those three questions. Nita, you can come through.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's allow Nita to answer question 2 and 3.
Frank, thank you very much for your questions. Let's start at number 3. If you get a master's degree from a university, you do not have to do an RPL, provided that it's a master's degree that is approved by SACA. It's validated and approved and recognized by SACA, an architectural master's degree. If it's not one of the degrees we recognize, then it won't give you registration as a professional architect. The second one, you asked about the marks.
So the question one, so that's question one. The score sheet, Frank wants the score sheet. So,
okay, Frank, I can remember that you did the RPL. I can just for the life of me not remember when you did it. I was trying to see now on my laptop. Do you more or less have an idea?
Yeah, I think it was, if not last year, it was the previous year, but I can quickly check on my emails. If you need that information, I don't know whether I should give it to you.
Don't you? Let's not hold the others up. Send me an email just with the date that you did it. Up to a certain date, we didn't keep that information. And then exactly what you're saying became pertinent. And we keep that now, and we actually give it to people as part of the outcome of their assessment. So I've got a feeling that I might have it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That will be much appreciated.
Daneshwa, are you going to answer the first question?
Okay, so question 2, Nita, I think maybe you'll be able to also answer the current success rate of RPL. Do you have the stats with you for 2023?
Give me 1 minute. I was trying to open a document here. And I don't know if it's 2023 that I've got.
Okay, the question was also asked by Frank. You know, he wants to see the portfolio of successful applicants. I think when we were putting this webinar together, we did have a challenge because we actually need permission from the other applicants to actually use their portfolio of evidence. So once we get that permission from the previous successful applicants, we will then use that as an example. But at this moment in time, we cannot share the information of another successful applicant without their permission. However, I think at today's webinar, we've given you sufficient information for you to actually put together a portfolio that you should be confident to actually submit to SACAP to have your application validated and approved. I think the key to a successful application is the SACAP 10 competencies together with your 6 work stages where you need to demonstrate that you have the necessary skills and ability to undertake a project from work stage 1 up to work stage 6, and you're able to do the administrative tasks as well. So let's see how we can navigate around this portfolio that you're looking for as guidance as how you need to prepare a portfolio of evidence. However, I think aligning your portfolio to or any RP who wants to undertake RPL or special consent who aligns to an example may not be a good practice. So something that you need to be mindful of as well. So we can give you pointers and guidelines, what to do, what not to do. And I think something that you may have experienced is the type of questions that the panelists ask. So when you go into this RPL assessment session, I think you need to you need to come there well prepared, because some of the questions actually test your competency in building regulations, in SAN standards, in other pieces of legislation or in other types of building typologies where certain requirements need to be met. And also when your drawings are scrutinized, they look for the way your drawing is presented and the type of information you ought to have put in your presentation. So we will revert back to you or to all of the RPs that attended today's session. I think once we get permission, we will then forward, or we will then use those portfolios as examples. But at this moment in time, we cannot do that. Thank you, Frank. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you so much. It does answer my question. I'm not really zeroing into really wanting to see a portfolio. I think the question was really based on the fact that when you think you have covered all aspects and are confident enough that you have done well and you answered your questions pretty well in the interview, and even the other assessors were happy with it, as they asked for all the competencies, even on detailing, design, and to find out that they say you did not make it and there's no concrete answer to say where exactly did I miss it, and you feel you've covered everything. That's where I think the concern is coming from, to say maybe let me compare my particular portfolio with the one that was successful and see where the difference is, because in the interview you feel you did well. In your presentation, you feel you put all the competence areas are covered, and the projects you selected, they've covered everything. And it leaves you wondering what exactly where exactly did I go wrong? So that's maybe what prompted me to ask for that. But because even if you were to reapply and you don't know where you missed it last time, it becomes pointless to reapply. Hence that question. But I'm hoping I'll get the guidance outside this meeting accordingly, especially if I manage to get my score sheet, because I couldn't get it the last time. Otherwise, thank you so much. I think the answer is really appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Frank. I think we as SACAP as the team and SACAP as the council, we're here to assist all applicants in whatever way we can, and we want to encourage all applicants who are unsuccessful to actually go back and look at the reasons given why your application was unsuccessful, and then try and comply with those reasons. However, we will revert back to the registrar for some guidance as well, and then we can see how best we can assist you. Thank you. And Munetsi, maybe you can then take the next question from the next RP.
Before you answer, Munetsi, Frank, I've got so many statistics on RPL and other different things. Please just drop the RPL in your email as well, then I'll send it to you. I've got lots of statistics. I'm just not finding it at the moment.
Thank you so much, Nita. I really appreciate it. I'll drop you an email right away.
Thank you. That makes it easier.
Cheers.
Chair, you said what was the question for me?
No, I said you can go to the next RP that
Okay.
wants to ask a question.
The next one, it's if I'm not mistaken, it's Pire Various, Maraika Botha, Skolan Ngube, Verna, in that order, please.
Good morning, Pierre de Villiers. Can you hear me?
Live and direct.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please forgive me if I ask some questions that were answered before. We had a sudden power outage and I had to change to the generator power. I have a couple of questions and I will keep it as short as possible if you wouldn't mind. I'm interested in special consent. The reason being, I get more work in the next category. For instance, double stories and a bit bigger work than I can do as a draftsperson at the present moment. I actually only registered as a draftsperson late last year after I've done my exams and my 3-year mentorship. My question to the panel is, may I use the plans that were approved by council, which I drawn under my mentor? That's the first question to submit as proof of evidence. Second question is that reference letters from clients as well as client agreements that I would not have, because most of the client agreements was done with my mentor, number one, and number two, 99% of the clients' plans I did was in actual fact to sell their properties. It was done for Spluma purposes, where I was based in Middelburg at Steve Churchville local municipality. Will a affidavit from my mentor be sufficient enough stating that I did do those drawings myself under her as mentor? And then my last question, if I may please, if I cannot use my plans that I did draw under mentorship to apply for special consent, the question is then, after 3 years, and I would like to apply to upgrade to a technologist, what PIA will I give them to do so if I am not allowed to draw plans out of my scope of work, according to the IDO? That basically covers all. So as I said, please forgive me if you did answer these questions before. I will listen to your answers. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Banashwa, can I answer or you want to go through, or Nita?
Okay, Munetsi, can you answer? I think you've covered that in Nita, because you'll cover that in your presentation.
Okay, so yeah, let me then answer, and Nita, and you can amplify. Mr. Pire, yes, Divias, sorry for butchering your name there. Remember, special consent, it's under IDOW.
That's correct.
You are right. What you rightfully said, that you are not in that category, but it's only that because you have been working in this particular building topology, né? And yes, you can. A special concern is that you are not going to move your current category. No. But you'll be given what we call on our right now is a certificate of competence. Certificate of competence will then say that, Mr. Pire, you are exempted to draw. I'm just giving you a generic building, a double-store building. Only you can draw that, because this comes under IDOW. So that area of specialization that we have highlighted, That's what, but your category is not going to change. You get that that certificate there. But NITA will come and amplify if I miss something or if I made a mistake there. Yes, you can use those drawings from the mentor as long as there is a reference letter from the mentor or an affidavit, and it can be proven that you are the one who draws those ones.
Okay.
Yes, those reference letters are very important. Affidavit are very important, and information that is there must be traceable in the event that we want to contact the person, we want to contact the client. You can say, you said to us, yes, this was drawn by Mr. X. Mr. S is Mr. X peer mentor. Yes, that's fine. So it's very, very important to have those. That's why we want affidavit because it's a legal document. So
yes, you see, because my main concern at this present moment is special consent. I will only upgrade in about 2.5 years, or try to upgrade to technologist after I did my full 3-year term and wrote my second exam. That I will give attention to early next year to see if I can write that exam so that I can get that over and done with.
Okay,
If Mr. Schmidlin has something to say, I will not keep up the rest of the group any longer.
Okay, let me address there before you ask Miss Nita there. So I saw there were quite a few questions, people asking us about special consent, whether we are required to write PPE exam. No, special consent does not allow you to write exam. No, because you are not going to change category. You are only going to exempt it on that building topology that you have extensive or competence on only. So
Okay.
you can be exempted on that on those building topology, but you can go ahead and.
Ms. Schmidtnell, do you have an answer for me?
So just repeat your question for me, please.
No,
You were
I
asking
just,
about?
it was about the special consent and the documentation where I didn't have reference letters from a client or client agreement. But I think the previous speaker did manage therefore that my mentor can give an affidavit regarding that.
Exactly.
Just a quick one. Can I apply for more than one type of building for consent?
You can.
Okay. And
You can. Please, can I just ask that when you do draw up your portfolio for the different typologies, mark them very clearly.
Yes,
We've had many instances where you just get a plan and these poor people in the panel must first sit and sort out what this plan was for before the assessment.
And then the second paper, when I want to upgrade to technologist, that's about in 2 years' time from now. Can I write the second paper now?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You could have written it with the first one already. So please just make sure from Ricky, but I am 99% sure that you can.
I will contact Mr. Moodley because that would be quite a help. If that is done, it's done. You know, it's over as a cadeau.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, Nita, you are not 99%, you are 100% correct. You can write it now because you can write when you write the first paper, you should have
you could have written it already. Yeah.
Yes, already. It's fine, but you can write it now in this upcoming October. It will be good for you.
No, I think it would be March next year, not this coming October. It's too quick. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your answers. I appreciate it. You've answered everything I need to know. Thank you very much, and thanks for your time as well, representing this webinar. It's very helpful. Thank you very much.
there. I just have also two questions. Do you recommend if I have two building types in the category above where I'm currently registered, do you suggest just getting ST for each of those building categories, or would you recommend doing the RPL process instead of the two SCs? That's the first question.
Oh, may I know
If-
what category of registration you are, please?
PAT, and I'd like to obviously go up to Senior Architectural Technologist.
Anita, do you want to answer that?
I'd like it, but to go up to a senior technologist, you would not do SC, you would do RPL.
Yeah, so the question is, which one would you recommend? If I've only got two of the building types, or yeah, two of the building types in the higher category, would you recommend
I
doing?
hear what you say. I hear what you say, but that is what I'm trying to make clear to you. If you only do special consent, you will remain in your current category, regardless of how many different typologies you apply for and gets granted to you. So if you want I want to say a blanket, okay to do all the work that a senior technologist can do, then RPL would be the better one. But if you're sure that it's only the two type of projects, then the special consent will suffice.
Okay, and if there's no limit, it's not that I've got to show competency in all the different typologies in the category above mine. It's just that I need to show one or two different ones.
For the SC.
No, for the RPL.
For the RPL, you have to show it in all of them.
In all of them. Okay, all right.
Yes.
Understood. Okay, no, I think that actually answers the second question as well. Thank you.
Maybe
Thanks.
just to add further to what Nita has said, if you choose to go the RPL route, then you may have to consider, getting that experience on the other different types of building typologies that fall under senior architectural technologies. If you do submit an application for RPL with only limited experience on two building typologies, you may be disqualified. So the advice we would give you is that try and get more experience on a variety of building typologies. So that will actually give you a better chance or a better opportunity to actually upgrade when the panelists look at your portfolio of evidence.
Okay, perfect. That's great. Thank you very much.
Hello, this is Tolani. I don't know if I'm the next or I've jumped the queue.
No, you are. You can go ahead, Colin.
Oh, okay. I want to check with you as SECAP. I've been following the Royal Institute of British Architects, RIBA, for a very long time. I actually worked with guys who were studying under RIBA. They were doing what we call RIBA Studio Learning Program, whereby they were associated to a certain university, yet submitting their portfolio to RIBA until they fully became registered architects or chartered architects. I wonder if SECAP can't introduce a similar setup so that it becomes easy for us. If there is a, say, it's a Joburg University, SECAP is associated with that university, then we can enroll as draftsperson and do what we call studio learning program with that university until we easily qualify as architects. That will actually make it even easy for us to achieve this qualification, because RIBA has got certificate 1, certificate 2 until you reach like the level of of being a professional architect. What is the SECAP standing on that? Is that something that can be adopted as a bridge instead of going through RPL? Thank you.
Okay. I can take that one. Thank you very much, Kolan. I think it's a case study that you need to send it to us so that we can engage. I remember we, a regulator, we do have all the universities that offer architectural courses. They are accredited by us. We have got that mandate. So without promising, but what we need is that case study, and then we then propose. There is then a process that we need to be taken for to have the curriculum introduced and so. So what is important, what we can say right now is give us the that case study, how does it work and so forth. Then we can compare that. Then it will then go through the necessary processes of head of school, our council, and we can all make all those recommendations after we get that kind of information. So in a nutshell, I'm gonna put a Dimple's email on the chat. Then you can send how does that RIPA process work, what are the advantages and so forth. Then we can then pick up that and follow what they are doing and see if we can then, with the help of the architectural learning sites as well as CHE, advocate for that to be in the curriculum. But for one thing for sure, to let you know that it's very difficult for a curriculum to change. To change a curriculum take 3 years or so, but we are not renegating it. It's a case study that we need to go through it. We need that idea, and we can advocate for that, and we'll then advise you as we go. In some instance, when people propose some of these things, we actually invite them, have coffee with them and suck up. Then you can explain how it works and so forth, or we can have a Zoom to understand what is there in the market if we need to incorporate that. Thank you, Kolan, if I have answered you.
Yes, you have answered me. You have answered me. Yeah, with RIPA, it has actually made things easy for especially people who are working, because you can still attend classes after, like, say you are in a class for 2 weeks. You will cover all the subjects that other students are doing or who are doing full-time architectural studies, but you are doing it in a more structured way because you are already working in that environment, but you will still become a professional architect at the end of the day. Thank you very much. I don't mind sharing more information because I've worked with people who went through that system. It's actually amazing. It's quite good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will wait for your email. And now I'm sure it's Verna. You can come through, Verna.
Thank you so much. You can hear me?
Live and direct.
Thank you so much. My one is short. I applied for the special consent in February this year. I have not heard anything, so I'm just wondering. I heard one of the ladies saying that you are busy with a lot of applications. I'm just wondering if I just still need to just wait a bit, or maybe there was an oversight. If someone can just inform me, I'm still looking at application as far back as that time. Thank you.
So you're talking about special consent?
That's right, ma'am.
Yeah, no, we are still looking at that. They extended the limited special dispensation more than once because of the number of applications we got in. So they were quite busy with the limited special dispensation, and we will now shortly be going over to the special consent.
Okay, thank you so much. That is all from my side.
Also, Verna, I have just dropped in the email there. You can send your details and that query to Dimple, because I'm sure the coming next week or so we will then starting that process of assessment. Probably you are all aware that we put the advert for panelists this month. I'm sure it was closed on the 16th, no, on the 6th or 7th of this month. So we are starting that very soon. So please send your request to, your query to Dimple. I'm putting the email on the chat there, and even Kolan, your case start also send to Dimple. We will take it from there. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, now the next round here, I'm starting with Brent, Obekeng, Rose, Owen, Sheila, Thomas, in that order, please.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, you can go ahead, Brett.
Okay. My question is it's kind of simple. I've got plus 25 years experience in the architectural field, and currently I'm a professional senior architectural technologist. But my work, mostly 90 to 95% of it is in office, is going from stage 1 to stage 4. But the first stage eludes me with regards to contracts and so forth. What would I have to do? Is that good enough to apply for the RPL, or should I get more experience in the first stage to kind of help it along? Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah. Ms. Banashwa, you can come through.
Okay, I can answer that question. My advice to the applicant is that he needs.
I think in the workshop, can you call me back after 30 minutes?
Okay.
Sheila Thomas, can you mute, please? Thomas.
Okay, thank you.
So my advice to Brett is that he actually needs to go and get more experience in work stage 5 and 6. You know, if you submit your application and your POE doesn't demonstrate your competency in 5 and 6, you will be unsuccessful. So I would suggest that you actually do projects that go up to that includes work stage 5 and 6. And this will give you the experience that you need, and you'll be able to demonstrate that in your POE. If you submit an application that does not demonstrate the 6 work stages or the 10 competencies, you'll find that your application will be turned down, and the reasons will be given for why your application has been turned down. So please try and get hold of a mentor, or try and get hold of or try and do projects, or encourage your client to actually allow you to do the projects that you take on up towards work stage 6, so that you get the experience that you require. And this will help you a lot in your RPL application. I'm not sure if you want to add anything, Mr. Monetsi or Nita.
Can I just expand a little bit further? How much time would I need for stage 5 and 6? Would I have to do it for a period of 2 years, and then come back again, or what would be an adequate amount of experience in that?
At this moment in time, it's difficult to say, what time it's up to you. It's up to you to actually determine the time you need to learn, the skills required to actually do work stage 5 and 6. But I think at least 2 or 3 years you may need, unless you are a fast learner and you've been attending CPD courses. I think CPD courses and online structured workshops where these types of work stage 5 and 6 is covered will actually assist you. So if you attend the structured workshops, then you would get the skills, and obviously the timelines will then reduce dramatically. But however, if you go on the learning route of self-experience, and that may take a little longer for you to actually to successfully apply for an RPL upgrade. So just look out there. There's when you look at the SACAP database, there's lots of workshops that cover contract administration and closeout and a whole lot of things that take you from work stage 5 to work stage 6. So just look out for that and attend those workshops and attend those CPD activities and online structured courses that will help you a lot. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much.
Hello?
Hello. Oh yes. Hello. My question is about firstly, the first one is about the special consent. If you are a director of a company and you've been practicing for about 15 to 20 years, when you do the special consent, do you do the limited special dispensation or do you just do a special consent? And for instance, if I make an example of if you are doing, if you're maybe a professional architectural technologist and you're allowed to do primary schools, do you have to calculate how many classrooms and how many stories do you have to do, or is it just bracketed as primary schools? And if it is secondary schools, because it is just a repetition of a prototype of a 4-square classroom, 60 square meters. So how do you get your special consent to do from 2 classrooms to 4 classrooms, or from primary to secondary? Because there's not much difference in terms of the technical information that goes into the drawing and whatever. That's first. Special consent, do I apply as a director? Do I qualify then to do a higher portfolio? Like maybe if I'm an architectural technologist to do primary, can I do secondary schools as well? That's the first question that I want.
So may I ask, what's your category of registration, ma'am?
It's a professional architectural technologist.
Professional PAT.
Yes. And
Oh.
I've been practicing as well for maybe since 2011, and I've been registered for over 20 years.
So just to get a brief understanding, so you're a director of an architectural practice in another firm, or are you a director of your own practice?
My own practice.
Your own practice. So did you not apply for LSD when that opportunity was made available?
No, I did not apply for it. I haven't applied for anything.
Oh, okay. You may have put yourself at a disadvantage because as a director of a practice or the owner of a practice, that afforded you the opportunity to actually use LSD to actually do the work in a higher category, provided that you was able to provide the SACAP with the proof or the portfolio of evidence that you was doing that kind of work. You'd have automatically been granted exemption to do that kind of work. However, since seeing that you have not taken up that opportunity because LSD had a limited, time window of opportunity, that opportunity has now closed. So the other 2 avenues that you have is special consent and RPL. So with the special consent, it is based on your experience for specific building typologies. And when you speak about the difference between a primary school and a high school or the secondary school, I think the guiding document, you need to download the codicil. The codicil actually describes each building typology, and it tells you the level of complexity that you require to actually undertake that project. So I'm unable to discuss this over here today, but I would suggest that you download the codicil and then look at the types of projects you want to do, and then you'll be able to determine the project complexity and whether that falls within what you're wanting to do or what type of application you're wanting to make. However, the RPL application, it's a broad-based where you need to demonstrate, across the 10 competencies and across the SACAP 6 work stages. So your option may be, if it's just a few building typologies, then special consent. I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure
So
if any of the team.
I can go ahead and do the application for the special consent, and then we'll get the reply from the application.
Yes, you can do that, provided you can demonstrate the 10 competencies and the 6 work stages in that when you do that application and in your POE.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, Rose, you can come through.
Thank you. So my question, I did apply for the LSD when it came out, and I was, or still am, working on my own. So I realize now that obviously you had to be a director of your own business, which I was at the time, but there were a lot of plans that I had submitted when I was working underneath someone else. However, my LSD was completely rejected. I don't quite know how to move forward. Do I apply for special consent? Yeah.
Okay, to answer that question, Rose, I think because you was not a principal, if you could prove that you was a principal of the company when the work was done under your name, then you could have used that mechanism of LSD. However, if you was in the employ of another architectural firm, then you would have to you have to go the special consent route to actually be granted permission to do the different typology that you have acquired the experience in.
So some of the work that I did was under my name as a principal, and some of the work wasn't. So what about the work that was done when, that was also just disregarded?
Okay, I can't recall your application, but maybe you want to drop us an email so that we can follow up on the letter that you received where your application was declined.
Sure. Okay. Who do I drop an email to?
Yeah, if you check
Monetsi,
on the chat there, I put the email for Dimple, all the
100%.
queries. Yeah.
Thank you. Then, sorry, my other question, if I do apply for special consent, do you apply for one category at a time, or do you do one special consent application and you can apply for, say, the 5 categories that you want to practice for? And then also, does that certificate allow you to draw in that specific category then for the rest of your life?
I can take that one, Mr. Panasho.
Okay, take it, Monetsi. I think you did cover it in the presentation. Please feel free to answer.
Yeah. Rose, you don't, on special consent, you don't apply for a category. You apply for a building topology that you have.
Oh yes, sorry, but can you apply for multiple under one application?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can.
Okay, excellent. And then that category you can practice then under that, or you can practice that until you retire.
Yes, you can draw those. Just an example, the building you are exempted to draw. Let's say churches. Ne?
Yes.
Yes, you can draw that one until you retire.
Okay, that's excellent.
Yeah.
That answers my question. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, let's see who is our next.
No, I think it's me.
Okay, please. Sorry, your name again?
It's Sheila Thomas.
Please ask your question.
Sheila Thomas Mashinini.
Yes, you can go ahead, Sheila.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you very much for this event. Just my question is on the special concern as well. I just want to get the clarity there on application for the special concern. The application is exactly the same as when you apply for the RPL, and I mean in terms of the submitting of the portfolio of evidence. One, for instance, one is supposed to submit 5% project. Should I do that when I apply for the special concern, and also to comply with the competencies as those 10 competencies there? And then the second question is more like the one for Olebogeng, who was speaking just now. I'm the director of the company since 2003, but I'm registered as the person. So I just want to know, like, when I want to apply for the RPL in terms of the exams, I didn't write any exam. So should am I able to sit for two papers, paper 1 and paper 2, if I want to apply for the RPL, or not? Or just I need to submit the portfolio of evidence? Yeah, that's my questions. Thank you.
Moletsi, do you want to answer that, or you want me to answer?
You can answer, Chair.
Oh, okay. Okay, Mr. Thomas, there is a difference between the special consent application and the RPL application. In the RPL application, you're going to be submitting a variety of projects to demonstrate your ability to do different types of building typologies in line with the SACAP 10 competencies and in line with the SACAP 6 work stages. The difference with special consent is that you're going to zone in to a specific building typology, and you need to submit all of that evidence based on that building typology that needs to align with the SACAP 6 work stages and the SACAP 10 competencies. And in terms of being the director of a company, okay, so you're asking whether you need to write the RPL paper 1 and 2 at one go. Yes, you can do that. You can write paper 1 and 2 at one sitting if if you are prepared to, if you have attended structured workshops and you're prepared to write that exam. You can actually do that. I hope that answers your question, Thomas.
Yes, thank you very much. It answers my questions. Thank you so much.
Owen?
Hello, can you hear me?
Live and direct.
Okay. My question to you is the following. I applied in March 22 to do an LSD under two different categories. It took, I think, 1.5 years to get a letter back from SACAP to say that I've been approved under one of the categories and not the other. So when I questioned why the other one wasn't approved, they said to me, because they've lost the documents. So I said, okay, what do you need? So they said to me, they need the approved plan stamp on some of the plans I submitted. Now, in the beginning, I didn't have approved plans because I don't keep them. But what I did I went to the council and got photographs of the approval process. I took photographs of the approved plans to show that I had done it. And I asked I'm not sure who it was, but I asked whether this was acceptable, and they said yes. So now when I came back and got the letter and one of my categories was not approved, I said, but I sent it to you by email. You should have it. They said, no, we don't have it. So I went to great expense to follow up the owner of the building in which I had had the plans approved, and he fortunately had copies of the approved plans. I then sent that to SACAP, and then my answer I got from Kimberly Rowan was to say that LSD has now closed and I must now apply for special consent. I think after 1.5 years, I should have had an answer long before then. That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. We're hearing your concerns. I'm not sure whether we can answer directly on this platform here regarding, your experience. Maybe can you please drop us an email so we can then, ask the team to actually investigate and look at this and then see what went wrong, and maybe then submit some kind of evidence that you did submit all of this in your first application, or before the LSD actually expired.
Thank you. I will do that. But in closing, I just want to tell you, when I sent in my application, I actually sent it electronically and physically. I physically took it to SACAP's offices, and I physically got it signed for. So in fact, all the documentation should be there somewhere. But I hear what you're saying. I will send an email. Thank you very much for your answer.
Just one more question before you go. Did
Yes.
you take this on appeal when you received your letter?
Well, apparently from Kimberly Rowan's office, they said to me they are busy looking into it, but since then I've heard nothing back from SACAP.
Okay.
Thank you, Owen. We won't discuss this further on this platform, but we're looking forward to your email, and then we'll try and see how we can best resolve the issues at hand. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Owen, just to add on, when you send your email to Dimple, please, if you do have the sign off that you did, probably you take a picture or you still with that document, please attach it to us. Then it will be very easy for us to check on the system, because if it is the physical documents, it must be somewhere in the office here. That's what I promise you.
Absolutely. When I send you an email, I will send you a full story and history of what's happened and send you the documentation as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, I'm taking the last round because our time is fast spent, but there are 4 hands that are still there that we are going to accommodate. Those will be the last ones, and we'll then finish at probably we'll just borrow time. Okay, so we are going to start with Louis, then number 2 is Vis Vanas. My tongue. You forgive me, it's a Vis Vanas done. Then Rona, Helen, and Carlos, in that order. So these are the last ones. Okay, and Abraham's. Yeah, those are the last one. I will not be accepting others. So Louis, let me just say Vas there.
Do you hear me?
Yes, you can go ahead.
All right. Yes, I actually have the same questions regarding the previous question that Owen has. I also did an LSD application for 2 building types. The one got approved, or I've got exempted from it, and the other one was not exempted because I didn't attach approved plans. But that was incorrect. I did attach approved plans, and according to Kimberly, I should also do an appeal regarding or through the SC application. So I did that literally in a week after I got the result. So yeah, my question is, when do we get an answer regarding that? Because that's basically an appeal on the application of the LSD.
If it is an LSD appeal, please just send us an email. Then we post that one. It goes, if it is an appeal, it goes to the council straight. Then they will ventilate on that, and I will not give you a definite date. For the one that is if I heard you correctly, you said you then apply for special consent.
I did the appeal through special consent. Because the thing is, yeah, because the thing is, as I said, it was rejected because of not the plans that I submitted was not approved, but it was approved. The stamps was on it.
Okay, yeah, I know that one is fine. If it is special consent, I thought it was for LSD. So special consent, please again, send your query. You highlight everything to Dimple, and the communication that you had with Kim. Also, let's have that full story. We are going to have what do you call it? This the special consent in a week's time.
Okay, then I've got another question.
Yeah.
It's just regarding for the buildings that we, or the topology buildings that we get approved or exempted for, doesn't it need to state it on our certificate of competence as well?
Yes, certificate of competence states that it was say that you are exempted for for this building, carport, whatever. It will state that on certificate of competence.
Okay, yeah, but mine still isn't updated.
When did you get that one? Was it a letter
earlier this year, I think in April or March.
Please send that one direct to in a separate email. I want to check that because the system does update that. But I'll send that to Dimple and just say that a special certificate not updated. Then you write that narrative, and if you have got a copy of that, put that one on that email so that we can check why is it not updating on the system, and yeah, we'll take it from there.
All right, thank you.
All right. Abrahams.
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes. Live and direct.
Yes. So I'm a senior architectural technologist for the last 25 years at the University of Cape Town, where we do multidisciplinary projects and in all kind of teaching venues, labs, and multi-stories. And recently with our fire upgrade, which we had in 2020, most of my senior staff has taken retirement. And in terms of where we dealt with all kind of up to stage 6, do I now just get an affidavit from the director to verify the works that I've done over the years with the team? So that's the first question. Or do I just ask my senior architect to give me an affidavit and verify my works? So that is the first question. The second question is with regard to my stages, my disciplines. As a senior architectural technologist, is that I'm also practicing my architecture from home, where I only go up to stage 4.2 in most cases. But at work, I do all stages and work with JBCC and the FIDI contracts. I'm not interested to sort of do the RPL, but more interested just to do special consent to move in certain categories. So that's basically my questions.
So Mr. Munetsi, I can answer one or two of the questions here. Maybe you can assist if I find some to pick up. So Mr. Abrams, so you're a senior architectural technologist you wanting to know whether you can do special consent applications, and
Yes.
you don't want to go the RPL route. Any reason for that? Okay, I see here you're saying that you are doing work privately and you're doing up to 4.2, so that actually puts you at a disadvantage. So when you're looking at
No. I'm saying I'm doing that. I'm also doing privately that work. But for the last 25 years, I'm a senior architect at the University of Cape Town, where we're doing all stages, with the in-house users. So we don't have an agreement that we sign with the client. We call them users. We just ask them to sign off our drawings basically in our specifications.
Okay, the challenge with yours is a unique case. The challenge with that is that because you are working, I'm assuming that you're doing the work under a team of architectural professionals. So you're not doing the building typology from A to Z.
No. We're doing it from A to Z. So you get dedicated. You get dedicated projects assigned to you.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're wanting to know whether you can do that under special consent. So I'm
Correct.
assuming that this work is in the category of architect.
Correct.
Okay, so I don't see any problem with that. You will be able to submit an application under special consent. You just need to demonstrate the 6 work stages and SACAP 10 competencies. I'm not sure, Monetsi, do you want to add anything to that as well?
Yes. He also mentioned that can he get a letter from the director? Yes, you can get a letter from the director, as well as especially affidavit from the director, as well as from, you said, if I'm not mistaken, you said from the senior probably RP, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you can get that. Either the director to confirm that you have been working on those projects, and the person whom you said is it an RP senior, you can also get an affidavit. It will be important to give those to get all those 2 documents for reference purposes as well. So the route that you can take, as I'm sure it's a special consent, it will be fine. But if you want to go to the RPL, yes, you can use those documents as well, but it must cover all 10 competence as well as 6 stages, so that the evaluators will then assess based on those competence. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, good day. This is Viswanathan speaking. How are you guys doing?
We are great. We are great.
Good. Thanks for a fantastic session. Quick one. I'm a professional architectural draftsman for 37 years. I'm a director of my own company. I've just got 2 quick questions. The time frames for RPL and special consent. And second one, if I upgrade to professional technologist, do I need to wait for the 3 years before I can apply for senior architectural technologist? Thank you.
So I think I can answer the first one. Thank you, Viswanathan, for the question. I think you actually can you actually qualify to actually choose which mechanism you want to use, the RPL or the special consent. I think from a draftsman to technologist is a straightforward process. You just need to submit your application together with your portfolio of evidence demonstrating your proficiency in the 6 work stages and the SACAP 10 competencies. However, I need some guidance from Monetsi here because or Nita, because I saw that she did a flow diagram regarding from one category to another and whether there's timelines there. So Nita, can you advise, or Monetsi, can you advise Mr. Viswanathan whether once he applies for, once he's granted technologist status, does he need to wait another 3 years or as prescribed in your flow diagram, or can he then immediately apply for senior tech?
I know I can answer that one.
Okay,
You just need to wait for another 3 years. So after you move from one state to another, you need to wait another 3 years, get that experience, then you can apply. You cannot move automatic from one stage, then immediately go to the next one. But NITA can amplify it.
Muneti, you are 100% correct. The waiting period is always 3 years. It is to allow the applicant to get the practical experience equivalent to 3 years in that category that he or she wants to upgrade to. The flowchart, Daneshwa, that you were talking about, that is normally what we use to show the path of a candidate's upgrade to a professional. So it's register as a candidate, do your internship in this stage, and then write the exam and be upgraded.
Thank you,
But
Nita.
to the next category and the next category, it's every time 3 years.
Thank you, Nita. Even though, prior to 2021, where, before the IDOW came into effect, I've been handling some larger scale projects from my office. And with 37 years behind me, do I still need to wait for the 3 years? I know it's prescribed, but
yes, sir. Yes, unfortunately, you do have.
okay. All right, perfect. Thank you.
Just one question.
And sorry, what is the lead time currently for both the RPL and the turnaround time for special consent? Because,
Special consent, I listened to the two gentlemen before me that said we'll start next month with them. I cannot tell you because we've done very few of them. The prescribed turnaround time for RPL, and I assume that is what we're working towards for special consent as well, is 60 working days.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's not bad. Because often, Nita, we have projects that we like to tender on, and obviously we'll need to apply for special consent if we want to take on this project.
I do understand, sir, and I do understand everybody's frustration. I think it's been a hard time for us as well, because we had a change in our council and a change in our system and a change in the way we work with the applications. And that is what's been holding things back. People must also understand, and that is, please, not applicable to a lot of people that is here today, but people apply for RPL and they never pay for it because they think, I'm going to wait and see what the outcome is first. You're not going to, first of all, move from phase 1 to phase 2 if you didn't make the payment for phase 1. And you're not going to get your outcome of phase 2 if you haven't paid for phase 2. So I was checking the other day on the new system works like that, in that everything, not just RPL, every transaction that we do, every application that we do, for whatever reason, it goes into different process steps. And we, as the administrators from the registration side, cannot touch these applications until they're in the assessment side. So I was checking the other day, specifically at RPL, and maybe Muneti has even got the figures. There were well over 200 applications, but there are 5 people that paid.
Yeah, it's sad. Good, perfect. Thank you, guys. Have a lovely day further.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
This is Ramona speaking.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. This is also a special consent question. This is for a professional architectural draftsman that wants to do a special consent for a specific building type, for example, a double-story building that is now in the IDO under a professional architectural technologist. So we just want to apply for a special consent for that specific building type. But I've opened my dashboard and I've done the updated details. Then it asks membership type, and there's 3. Do you click the PAD one because you are currently PAD, or do you tick the PAT because the building type falls in the next category? Which one do you tick there? That's my basic question.
Mr. Munetsi, I think you're the most competent person to answer that. You did that, you covered that topic.
Yes. You are applying for special consent, ne?
Yes, so it looks a bit different, the menu. Yeah.
Yes, if you are applying for special consent, you select the one that you are in, because that one does not going to upgrade. You're not upgrading. You only want to give an exemption on other buildings. So the one that you are in.
Okay, that makes sense.
All
and
right.
then one more question. If you are a professional architectural draftsman, and how long, if you're registered in that category, how long before you can apply for special consent? I know for RPL you must be 3 years in your current professional stage or category, but if for special consent, can you apply before the 3 years for that one building type?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That was all, and thanks so much for everything today.
Okay,
thank you. Is it Carlos or is it Helena? Who's next?
Can I go?
Okay, go ahead, Carlos.
You guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Yes, you may ask your question, Carlos.
Yeah, my stuff was off, my sound was off. Nonetheless, I kind of forgot my questions, but leave it as it may. Let me try and figure this out. The PPE sitting, right? When will the next PPE sitting be? I saw on the website it is in October or something, but it doesn't show when the closing date for the applications will be. I'm not sure when the closing date for that application will be. My question is, do I, as a professional draftsperson, not a candidate, do I need to sit for the exam? Or do I still, if I want to do special consent, do I still, do I need to sit for the PPE if I just want to do special consent? That's question 1. And then question 2, with regards to RPL and special consent, which process is quicker and simpler in your opinion? And then I've got another question. I've submitted, prior to IDOW, I've submitted plans for a double story, and those were approved, right? And then after IDOW came into effect, I submitted another 3 double story buildings. 2 of those plans were approved and 1 was not approved. I would like, 1 was approved now recently. I would like to know why it wasn't approved. The most recent one. The most recent one was approved and the previous one wasn't approved. I would like to know why that was the case. How does one go around it? And I've been trying to get RPL or special consent done for the longest time now. I've been working plus minus 20, 25 years as a draftsperson. So I'm just trying to understand exactly how this process works. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. I think we're going to share the questions between myself and Nita and maybe Munetsi. So I think in terms of just some background, your registration is a PAD.
That's correct, yes, draftsperson.
Oh, okay, and when that window of opportunity was given, did you not take up that opportunity to use the LSD to continue doing the work you was doing?
No, I didn't. When I did try to do it, I was told by Nuran Constance that the LSD is no longer available. That was last year.
You missed the cutoff date.
Apparently so.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. And okay. So that's the reason why your plans are now getting refused, because you're now restricted by the IDOW. So the two mechanisms, like you said, is LSD and special consent. It's difficult to actually answer which is a simpler process. As we heard, there are some challenges every now and again that takes place. But you need to actually determine which is the best one for you to actually undertake, whether you want to do an RPL. So an RPL will means that you have to provide a portfolio of 5 approved drawings covering a wide range of projects that sit in the technologist band. And then with special consent, it's I think your only concern here is doing double story. So maybe that might be a quicker route for you. Go for the special consent. If that's the only type of work you are specializing in, is the double story typology type.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the PPE sitting, I think that falls under the desk of Nita. So we're going to hand over to Nita, and then let's see how she can answer that best for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I was trying now to see if I've got record of when you submitted an application. It's a bit difficult if you try and look it up while we're busy with these webinars and things. But I can surely look for you if you send me an email and give you feedback. My problem is, and I'm really now talking many years ago, if I'm talking 2020, that is about it. There was a stop, not a stop. We wrote emails to numerous applicants that didn't give us either all their documents or didn't make the payment, and things like that. And we said, if you don't submit it by a certain date, your application will be cancelled. Obviously, we did not get, and please, I'm not saying that yours were amongst them, but I'm just giving you instances of what happened. I know that we had it towards the end of 2022 again. We said to people, if you don't give these things in by a certain date, we're going to cancel the application, because we end up looking as if we don't do the work because it doesn't get finalized. Meanwhile, if we look at the back end of our system, it is because people did not submit a portfolio, did not make a payment, did not give us a copy of a CV, did not give us a copy of reference letters, or whatever the case may be. So we do stop it from time to time. And then if somebody gives an application or wants to know about the application, they have to then submit a new application. Also, if I must tell you how many of these very old applications I get, where people say, oh, I gave it in 2019, can I now change the 5 projects that I've included? Which shows you that that is not pertinent for them even anymore. So we have to put in cut-off times from time to time. Hopefully we'll get into a better, can I call it a better rhythm, something that is more defined, that has got predetermined dates that you can then, let's say, register for a certain RPL in advance. So with our new system, we're trying to update our processes as well. And this webinar is part of that. If you send me an email, I will definitely check for you if I've got the old application and what the reason is it hasn't been finalized.
I can do that. Just before you go, Nita, and I'll brief for this question. Do I need to write the PPE? And when, if I want to just do special...
Did you write it before?
No, I've never, because when I wanted to do the PPE back then, I even went for the workshops. I did 2 workshops, which was lovely, actually. I was told that I don't need to do PPE because I'm not a candidate, but I'm already registered as a professional. So do I need to do the PPE now for special consent?
Not for special consent, but for RPL.
Okay, so if I were to go to the RPL route, I need to do PPE.
Exactly.
Paper 1 and 2.
Exactly, sir.
That makes sense.
Ja, nou ry nog altyd. Ja, hulle praat nou met mense, so dan sê.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we are at our last RP. That's Helena Cater. To you, Helena.
Chair, it's not Helena, it's Vishanathan.
You know, he finished asking a question. Is he asking another question?
So if that is the case, we oh,
We did
Helena,
answer-
yes, Helena.
We did answer his questions earlier.
Okay, so Helena. 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 Chair, I'm sure Helena is the last one. I think we can then therefore end the question and close the, because we are almost over.
I'm sorry, I see that her hand is off now. Maybe she wants to talk now. Mrs. Kaiser has been holding on for a long time, and she was just talking in the background. Maybe just give her another chance. Helena, can you hear my word?
Yes, we can.
I'm just asking if she can hear me. Danette?
Oh,
Helena, het jy nog 'n vraag te vra? Ek dink jou volume is nie aan nie.
might be muted on her side.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's not muted. I'm not sure why. Most probably a body break or something.
Helena, wil jy vir my 'n e-pos stuur, dan sal ek dit vir jou antwoord.
She's trying to connect to the audio. I'm not sure whether she's having connectivity.
Oh, okay, maybe that's it.
Okay, Chair, what she can do is she can either send her questions to Dimple, we can specifically address them, Chair.
Okay,
I've
thank
asked
you.
you to just send it to me, Munetsi.
Yeah, yes, as well as to Nita as well, we can assist you. Okay, you can close.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bonetsi. So I'm going to close. I'm just going to give a summary, and then I'm going to hand over to you to do the final closing on behalf of the SACAP team. So I think we want to, just to sum up today's session, from my observations and the types of questions that were being posed, I think the value add was there, and it was good to note that we had over 550 people register for this webinar. And what I want to say is that you want to thank the SACAP team for actually putting together this webinar, because it's an essential value add, and SACAP actually is encouraging each and every RP to actually undertake special consent or RPL, to actually upgrade from one category to another, or to actually do special consent applications where they have acquired the necessary experience, and in this way you become more economically empowered, and rather than sitting in a lower category, with limited financial opportunities. So we, from a SACAP point of view, I think this comprehensive webinar had a value add, and it covered the topics, understanding RPL and special consent, the application process. I think that's key to actually filling in an application is actually understanding the process that's involved, and then what it takes to compile a portfolio of evidence. And then importantly as well is the SACAP 10 competencies and the SACAP 6 work stages. So we are encouraging all of the RPs who have registered for this webinar to actually download the documents. They are available on SACAP's website. To download the IDOW, that's where you'd find the SACAP 6 work stages and the SACAP 10 competencies. And there are other documents such as the codicil that will actually give you direction in what we actually look for, or what you need to demonstrate when you are applying for special consent and RPL. And then together, I think the SACAP team has given a commitment that this PowerPoint presentation will be uploaded onto the library section of the website. So please go there and have a look at that, and study the document, and have a look at it, and understand it, and then we're looking forward to receiving your applications. And then I think in our closing remarks, the call out here, or the call to action here, is for each and every architectural professional to actually do a self evaluation of your experience and your competencies. And if you feel that you have the necessary skills and the experience to undertake an RPL process or a special consent process, please use these mechanisms. We spent the better half of 20 years fighting for these mechanisms. And now that it is here, we are seeing that the uptake of these mechanisms are very low. So, and especially from our historically disadvantaged individuals, we also encouraging you to actually take up this this mechanism that's been put there now to address the imbalances that you may face, in actually moving from one category to another. And I think one of the questions that was posed on the chat was, is this for a specific demographic? No, this RPL and special consent is open to each and every demographic, in the country, and it is not limited to one. Even though we speak of the imbalances of the past, we actually need to address that through equity and whatever mechanisms. However, it is not it does not exclude any other person who has the experience or the competency to actually use these mechanisms and upgrade or upgrade, whether it's via RPL or whether it's via special consent. So from my side and on behalf of the SACAP, from my side and on behalf of the SACAP team that does a lot of work tirelessly and trying to get these portfolios to the panelists or to the committee that does the assessments, a big thank you to them as well. And I think one of the key takeaways here is that the incomplete applications and the failure to pay your application fee actually contributes to the delays, or either the delays in having your application processed or the frustration you may be experiencing. We also take note of some of the concerns where your application has been misfiled or documentation has been lost. We as SACAP, we will look into it and we will try and assist you where you can. Please send your emails, as Mr. Monetsi had provided an email address. We will try and assist you wherever we can. SACAP is here to assist you, to progress from whichever category of registration you are currently at. And having said that, let me just pass my vote of thanks. I think on behalf of the SACAP team and the SACAP Council and the SACAP committee, that is the SACAP Registration and RPL Committee, I want to thank each and every RPL for taking time off from their busy schedule to attend this important webinar. And I hope that you have actually acquired the knowledge you was looking for, and this will empower you to actually undertake the RPL process. And if any RP has challenges in completing the application form, please feel free to contact the SACAP team, and I'm sure they will try and assist you all the way, because this is why we are here. We are here to assist you in whichever way possible, you know. So please I'm appealing to our RPs to please use these mechanisms to upgrade yourself to a high category of registration. We had one window of opportunity. Sadly, the uptake for that opportunity was very low. So the other two options or mechanisms that you now have is RPL and special consent. So having said that, I want to now hand over to Mr. Monetsi or Brenda Pake, who's just going to close off. And thank you again. Thank you all on my side.
Thank you, Chair. Brenda.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Monetsi. We wish to thank all the participants for attending. And based on the response we got from attendees, we note that this was a very productive and insightful based on what has been presented. And on that note, we wish to thank you for attending. And also what we will do is we will share the presentation that was presented today. We will further share the link to the YouTube video. We also encourage all participants to follow us on YouTube, which is We Are SACAP. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you. The webinar is now closed. Thank you.